Francis Bonfoy, the human personification of France from the hit webcomic and anime Hetalia, Axis Powers, World Stars, and a few others that I fucking forgot. Problematic titles aside, France has always been the butt of the joke in the Hetalia fandom. When you engage with people who don't like his character, they're quick to assume his character is questionable, to say the least. But that does really make me think, who is France? I mean, since it's a satirical anime and a satirical manga comic too, there isn't a lot to go off of based on the lore. So what is France's story? Why does he behave the way he does? What if Hima cared more about character development than penis sizes? I am not kidding. If he cared more about his characters than the length of their dick, I'm pretty sure this would be a less in-depth video with a lot less hypotheticals. So today, I'm doing a character analysis on my favorite Frenchman, France. I'm going to explain his backstory, what I think it would be, and how I would write it, and hopefully give him a little bit of justice. Let's see if I can do it, guys. So now, you may be thinking, Hero, why the fuck are you doing a character analysis when you should be playing video games, or at least figuring out a way to play Hetalia? Well, that's because I'm simply fucking bored, and I don't have anything else to do. I really don't feel like finding another sim date that I can play because I only have a Chromebook. Okay. What about the France background? Don't you think it's a little on the nose? I mean, you have a background right there. Because I don't want to take a picture of my fucking dirty ass room. So you guys are gonna have to live with me being in France for now, even though I have never gone out of America. You know what? Fair enough. So then let's just get into the character analysis. So to start, I guess, what do we know about France?
Well, he's just a pervert.
Okay. How about instead we start off with, what is Hetalia? I think if we just explain that first, we might get closer to our answer.
Hi.
Enrique! Hetalia Axis Powers is a satirical anime written by Hidekazu Maruya. Yep, I know, I'm talking about this asshole. I have to, bro. I'm sorry, dude. What the fuck is up with my voice? Yeah, my fault. Anyways, Hetalia the webcomic came out in 2006 on a website that Hima himself actually created. And then the manga came out in 2008. And then the Hetalia anime that we've grown to love and enjoy came out in 2009 after much needed negotiation with Korea. I'm not even kidding, old Hima needed to go. Well now, anyone who hasn't watched Hetalia is probably wondering, why did Hima get into so much trouble with Korea? Which, number one, why are you watching this video if you haven't watched Hetalia yet? Spoilers, huge spoilers from here. But Hetalia is a bunch of personified human country representatives with their entire personality based on racial stereotypes, and it takes place in World War II. So you can see why Korea would be pretty pissed and why this anime isn't for everyone. Just to give off a few examples, America is loud, obnoxious, and is constantly eating and drinking soda.
I drink soda, I eat pizza.
That boy say.
I drink soda, I eat pizza.
England is horrible at cooking, and also he's very grumpy and believes in magic. And in the comics, China actually says Aru, which is a Japanese racial stereotype against Chinese people. With all that being said, it's pretty clear to see that this anime won Hima plenty of racist allegations. But what does this tell us about France and his character? Well, since Hima built him off of stereotypes, France is very flirtatious, lazy, and since there's a bunch of strikes in France, he actually has his own alter ego about a magical girl who goes on strike. And now that that's out of the way, how about we get into character analysis? So, does anyone else have any ideas?
Well, his old comic strips are kind of weird, so...
While I'm not denying that Hima had some pretty good fucking explaining to do writing France back in the old days, dictating a character based on their old actions that aren't even canon anymore is so stupid, especially since there's so much more to France now.
You too?
As I previously stated, he's very flirtatious, but he's also very loving and caring to his people. A prime example of this would be episode 115, A Bientôt, Until We Meet Again. The episode revolves around an American girl named Lisa who took a trip to France when she was 19 years old. The episode begins and she's taking pictures of all the architecture and people, which includes France himself. And France takes notice of this and starts walking up to her. When the camera finally shows France's face, he looks off. Almost. I mean, he's not really that serious of a character. Yet here he is giving this random girl just a random intense stare, later offering Lisa a tour. It's clear to see that this isn't France's regular behavior, which begs the question, who is Lisa? She was introduced to us as just a random visitor visiting France, and just by the look of her, France is already acting strange. As the tour continues, France goes into detail about the history of the 100 Years' War and the history of Joan of Arc. Lisa later asks if it's true that Joan of Arc got burnt at the stake, and France just gives her another sad stare before answering yes. France tries to lighten the mood by saying he hopes that anyone involved in history got reincarnated and is now living happy lives. The scene ends with France going up to Lisa, saying, "Be happy this time," and before Lisa could answer, France already disappeared. So with all that, it's pretty safe to say that Lisa is the reincarnation of Joan of Arc, or at least that's what Hema implied. I really like this episode because it just goes into detail about how caring France really is towards his people. It's not just people either, it's towards the countries themselves. He tends to take a big brother role, especially with America, Canada, and Italy, with Italy directly referring to him as Nichon or Big Brother, and the fact that France and England fought to become America's big brother. But we never really got a solid explanation as to why he acts like this or why he acted like that in the past. It's not really surprising considering that Hetalia is a satirical anime, but what if it wasn't a satirical anime? Okay, so how do we feel if I just rewrite his character into what I think it would be if this show was serious? Any objections? Well, okay then. Let's just see if I deserve those 1,000 hits on AO3.
Meow, meow, meow. This isn't okay.
To start, I'm already gonna go over what I already previously explained and say that he's jealous of mortal people. More specifically, I feel like he'd be jealous of mortal people specifically because they can reincarnate and then they can live happy lives. I also feel like he would want to be a caretaker, specifically a big brother to someone, especially a mortal human. Again, not something he can do because he's bound to his duties as a country. What he really wants is to just pour out his love and admiration to just one person and just give them all of his love, you know what I mean? But he's afraid to. Before I continue, I would just like to say that I am in no way glamorizing or romanticizing the things I am about to say. I am also not demonizing the things I am about to say. This is just a character rewrite based on what I see and based on what I think would make the most sense. Please do not make stupid comments, and please do not try to make me look stupid when I say this. If written correctly, I believe France would have been the most insane representation for male hypersexuality and male SA. Remember, not all SA victims react the same way. Some may never want to do sexual intercourse, while some yearn for it. And hypersexuality isn't just freaky thoughts 24/7, sometimes it's really bad. And what makes it worse is that most people can't control these thoughts. So here's my in-depth character rewrite for France. Everything about his canon character actually stays the same. He's caring, he's loving towards his people and the countries, but since he's bound to his duties as a country, it's almost like he yearns for death. After watching his people die countless of times, he wants to just sit down and relax with someone he loves and cares for deeply. But because of sexual trauma that he carries, and because of the perverted thoughts that he cannot control, he's afraid of acting on those thoughts. He's afraid of hurting that person he cares about deeply, so he just stays to himself. That got dark pretty quickly, so I'm just gonna show you guys this picture of emo freaking Bart Simpson edit France. Not the time. Yeah, my fault. With that aside, I hope you guys just enjoyed the character rewrite as much as I did. Although I'm not so sure it's a character rewrite, it feels just more I'm going into depth and putting in hypotheticals about the man, but whatever. I'm just glad I got to talk about one of my favorite characters. I say one of because he's never going to top England. At least not in the way I'm talking about. Speaking of England, I might do another one about him because God, he needs it. Oh my God.
一触れで見える素晴らしい世界美しいユリとシャンソンが恋人